Yo, yo, yo. Been wanting to do one of these for a while because whilst I love social media and putting like question boxes up on my story, it's not always the easiest to give a decent response when people ask good questions. And I like watching these things on YouTube, so I hope that the people that I've asked questions, A, hope they see it, B, I hope it provides some sort of value and I can give a little bit more value to you with a longer form video. And I hope that it's not too boring as well. So I've got a load of questions on here that I'm going to go through and just give my thoughts on it as well. I'm by no means an expert in every single area of this. It's just my thoughts on it, and if you take something from it, then happy bloody days. So I'm going to go in with no particular order, and the first question I got was work-life balance, best method to unwind. I need to ask someone else about this. I'm only joking. I've got a lot better over the past probably 18 months to a year. This is something that I've struggled with for, like, ever since I started my business. So it's now 5.5, going on to 6 years is something I struggled with, especially when I was building it. I don't really have an off switch. I love what I do, which is a blessing and a curse because it never feels like I'm working when I'm working. And I've always found it hard to have that line between working and stopping working. I do something for my business every single day of the week. I try and take Saturdays off, but the reality is I'm still doing something in the morning to keep everything moving. So I do struggle with it, especially when I take holidays. For example, it's something I used to freak out about. I used to take my laptop on holiday with me. I've got way better at it, but the work-life balance, I think, comes from a few things. One thing that, and this is going to sound stupid, I've got my glasses here, right? And I wear these when I'm on the laptop. I've got astigmatism in one of my eyes. And it just helps me when I'm finished with the day to go like this and then put them away. Once I do that, I'm finished work. When I close my laptop, that's me done for the day. Now, old me would just keep that there. But the newer me now will close my laptop, I will put my phone down and I'll put it away in another room. And then I'll create, essentially what you want to be doing is creating boundaries. And that's something I struggled with, and that's something that Kat's really helped me out with. Because I work from home as well, I will work all day and then I'll close my laptop, and then it's not as if I'm leaving the office or I've got a commute to get back home where I can kind of unwind and then distinguish being at work and then at home. So a couple of things that I have done is I'll work like in the office, or at the moment I'm away and I don't have an office. When I'm at home, I'll close the door and my day is done. I left work there. It's not going to burn down overnight and I can go back to it in the morning. When I'm now away at the moment, I don't have that with a separate room. I'm closing my laptop, I'm putting my glasses away, and then I'm going straight away to put my phone in another room, and then I'm trying to be as present as possible. Another tip that I try and get all of my clients to do, or not all of them, but I try and get them to at least think about, is planning things in advance to look forward to, no matter how big, no matter how small. It could just be planning in with your partner, with a friend, with a family member, going for a walk somewhere you haven't been before. It can be just trying out a different recipe and cooking something different on a Friday night. It could be going out for a meal. It could be booking in a spa day. It could be booking a holiday. Have things that you are looking forward to that on a macro level and a micro level. So it could be like a big holiday somewhere that you've wanted to go for summer next year, but then that's a long time from now until then to look forward to it. So break that down into smaller things, like go and try something new, go on a weekend break somewhere, go to the cinema. I used to love going to the cinema, and I realized I hadn't gone since we moved to the Middle East, about 3.5 years. And I was like, why have we not done that? That really helps me to kind of switch off. I do come from a place, and I think it's different with work and life, but a lot of the time, balance is something that's thrown around a hell of a lot, right? Especially in the fitness industry. People want to have balance but get results. They effectively want to have their cake and eat it, which doesn't really work like that. The brutal truth is, the reason why people are where they're at and they're not happy is because they've had too much balance. So I think you've got to look at the season of life that you're in as well. And if work is a huge priority for you at this moment, that your career is, your business, whatever it is that you have, you've got to accept that there might not be a lot of balance for a period of time. And that's something that I would say a lot to friends and family that were concerned with how much I was working, because I was doing 16-hour days regularly just on the laptop, and I mean 16-hour days. I wasn't going to the gym that much, I'd forget to eat, all sorts, but I was accepting the fact that I was going in the bin now so that I can now afford to have a bit more balance in my life. And I say that because when you run your own thing, there isn't a lot of it, but I try. It could be even a thing of just planning in the middle of the week, something I like doing when I'm at home. I plan like midweek paddle with my mates, and it's a nice way to switch off. But you know, I think technology's got a lot to blame for having that balance. But you have to have boundaries. You got to have boundaries with the people that you work with. When you finish work, you got to try and leave work at work instead of take it home. So that's what I'd say my biggest tips are. Hopefully some of that has made sense, but I'm a work in progress with it. I'm not perfect with the work-life balance, but it's something I'm conscious of and I think about and I try to do better with. The next question, what is your 5-year plan? Deep, big question. The short answer is, I don't know. I don't know. And I think if I've learned anything from the COVID times, because Kat and I had planned to go to Australia around about that time, and I've always been a person that would say something like, you never know what could happen. Like, I don't want to put something in concrete. Maybe it's a commitment issue as well. But I've always been that person that's like, you never know what could happen, so I don't want to concrete say yes to something. But I think if COVID taught me something and us something, like me and Kat as a couple, it's that you never know what can happen. So I might plan and say in 5 years I want to be X, Y, and Z. I want to be here. I want to be doing that. But the reality is that could massively change. It could all change in the next 3 months. Like I don't know where I could be. We don't really know where we could be. We have a vague plan for 2 years, I guess, after the wedding, and even that's quite a vague plan. We don't know where we want to be. We don't know where we want to settle. A lot of this going on, but it's true. We know for a fact at the moment it's not the UK full time. I do have some plans. One of them I'm not going to mention because it's another business that I've been like pretty much working on this whole year in the background, and that would involve being in the UK for a lot longer. But right now we're not ready for that. Traveling's opened my eyes especially to a hell of a lot more out there, and we've got a lot more things and places that we want to go and do and see. I think from a business perspective, that chops and changes all the time as well. I think if I go back 5 years ago and I looked into the future now, or someone told me I'd be where I am at now, I would be like, cool, I'm happy with that. That's what I wanted. I'm where I wanted to be. But those goalposts always shift. So I think realistically, the best thing that I can say with that is in 5 years, I kind of hope to be doing what I'm doing right now. But again, I'm 33. Kids and buying a house and settling somewhere isn't something I want to do at the moment. However, you never know, in a couple of years' time, it might be completely different. But right now, it's not in either of our plans. Right now, we're both working on building our businesses, building a life that we love, travel, experiencing new cultures, living in different places as well. So right now, my 5-year plan is to keep doing more of the same, with like some more strings to my bow in business aspects, if that makes sense. Next question, who do you look up to in the fitness industry? Whoa, there's quite a few people. Some that you might know, probably a lot that you wouldn't know as well. So I try not to just list off loads of names. And I don't want to be too cliche with it as well. The fitness industry is a very noisy place. And I think I've been in it long enough now where I can quickly see the people that are just bullshitting and the people that genuinely do mean well. Now, early days me of getting into fitness, not from a work standpoint, from being interested in what I consume as a consumer of content and things, there's a few people that stand out. The first one's Steve Cook, absolute OG of like bodybuilding and things like that. He is the face of the OG of bodybuilding. He was always up there for me. And then other people like YouTube-wise, it's the Mike Thurston, it's Rob Lipset. Interestingly enough, I'm in Marbella now, and I've met Rob quite a few times, which is a very surreal moment for me, because I see a lot of similarities with these guys in myself, and to now be in and around these people to meet them, to speak to them and stuff. It's been really surreal, but very, very cool as well. Or it has done for me, and I don't even care saying about that. I think the fitness industry, like, I don't know, you don't want to come across not being cool with it and like, yeah, you're around these people. But I looked up to these guys, and now I've been around them and I've spoken to them and met them, and they're normal guys, and a lot of their journeys resonate with me as well. So those two guys, definitely. And James Smith, I've got a lot of admiration for him. I think he's a very, very smart bloke. It does not say I agree with everything that he says or agree with everything that anyone says, but I do look up to him. I think business-wise, very, very switched on. I've actually met him as well, and he was well all right in person. Just how he comes across, which is great. So there's a few there, and then there's a few like business mentors that I look up to. The mentor that I have now, 100%. And you might not know these people, so I'll just keep their name out of it for now. But my mentor now, Connor, top bloke, look up to him for sure. Next question: what's the hardest thing about getting in shape? Now, this is something that I think I can draw a lot of experience on, professionally and also personally as well. Because I've done this for a long time now, I get to understand how people work. And the main thing is psychology and mindset and beliefs. They are the main reason why people can't and don't get in shape and can't maintain it long term. It is as simple as that. The hardest thing is you comparing yourself to other people, comparing yourself to a younger version of you. It's having the belief that you can actually get to where you want to be. I think that's the main thing that I get now from speaking to people. But I think surface level wise, most people think the hardest thing about getting in shape is the dieting, the eating the food, the going to the gym. It's not. It's your approach to it. It's your mindset around it and your beliefs around it. Hands down, that is the hardest thing. The thing about having no motivation and no time is bullshit, because you make time for what you prioritize in life. One thing that I love saying to clients, especially when they're frustrated with not seeing the results that they want, they're finding it hard. I always say to people, if there was a fly on the wall watching your every move and watching you for a week, would they say that you're serious about your goals? And I love that, because it gets you to think. And I guarantee most people, the answer is no, deep down, but on the surface, they probably think that they are. The hardest thing about getting in shape is your mindset. It's not easy. If it was, everyone would be walking around in the shape that they want the whole time. But it's not easy for a different factor than you think it is. The food side of things is pretty simple. Going to the gym and training is pretty simple. But when your motivation dips, that's tough. When you have things in life that are out of your control and how you manage it with still sticking true to your goals, that's tough. If you've never been in shape before and you want to get in shape before, you probably don't believe that you can do it. So you have to break down those barriers, and that's tough. So they're the hardest things. Okay, next question. Any advice for an online coach just starting out in the business? Now, I know you very well. You probably know what I'm gonna say, I would imagine, but hopefully other people find value in this. I don't really know where I got it from when I first started in the industry. I kind of just went in without too much of a thought and winging it, thinking, I know what I'm gonna do. However, another thing that lockdown taught me, I got bored very quickly in lockdown, and I needed my brain to be active. So I ended up just seeing these people online and like consuming their content, and they're now what you would call fitness business coaches or mentors. And then I did a £50 course. I can't remember exactly what it was now. It's Jay Alderton. He's another guy I look up to. It's a £50 course. I think it was more about social media, and I just consumed everything in that course, and it was like £50 a month. And at the time, all of my earnings had stopped because of COVID, and I had just only had 3 clients face to face. So I was like, sod that. So I did the whole course in 1 month, and I still have the booklet now. And then I just sort of threw myself into investing in myself. When the money started to come back in, when I was PTing again face to face, I threw myself into investing in people that have been there before. My own coach, and with business mentors or mentorship programs. I started off on like a low-level group program, went into one-to-one. That ended up not working out because the mentor turned out to be just an absolute tosser in the end, but I still learned a hell of a lot of it. I learned a hell of a lot from it, and I've still got a lot to thank him for. And then just off of experience from other people, you end up finding like people like my mentor now who I really click with. My biggest advice is to be your own person, invest in help from people that have been there and done it before. If you look up to someone, and I had my first coach in mind, I was like, I like him, he seems similar to me, he seems like he's got a great business, he gets great results, how the hell does he do it? So I paid him to get me in shape, and I took things that I liked, I took things that I didn't like, and I started implementing it into what I wanted to do with Level Up Lean. So that's pretty much what I'd say, is you invest heavily into yourself. The other thing that goes back to what I was saying before about the hardest thing about getting in shape is going to be your mindset around it. It is tough. I think it's often seen online that what we do as coaches is easy. You just post a few reels, you post a few before and afters, and then people just knocking at your door saying, help get me in shape, I'll pay you whatever. The reality is it isn't like that whatsoever. It's a competitive market, but every market is. But it's only competitive because there's a lot of shit out there as well. And you can quite easily find yourself following these other people. And I've done that before, and I started to not feel like me. You have to be true to yourself, show your personality. People buy from people. So I show more of my life than I probably do about fitness content now. It's what I enjoy watching of other people as well. So I was like, oh, well, why am I not doing that? What seems boring to you in like the day-to-day, it's real life and other people will resonate with it. Get your thoughts and beliefs out there. Be polarizing with it as well. I'm quite open about the fact that I fucking hate HIIT classes and just classes at the gym and diet culture, like fad diet culture and things like that. And I'll tell people about it, and I'll attract the right people towards what I want to do, and I'll repel the people that enjoy those sort of things. It can be anything as well. I do it often with food, and I'm just very polarizing with it. Sometimes not enough, and something I want to be better at as well. But it just comes back to just be you. I've got probably, well, I think everyone has like a weird sense of humor sometimes and all sorts, but the humor is the thing that kind of resonates most with people when I put it out on social media, because it shows my personality. There's too many wooden planks in this game that are just boring as hell. If you go onto your reels on Instagram, you start flicking through, there's not many people on there that you're like, oh yeah, he makes sense, oh, he's quite funny. And that's why people like James Smith work so well, because he's quite funny and he's very polarizing. Everyone at the moment in the fitness game, when they're doing reels, just fucking boring, grabbing their bellies going, if you want to lose that stubborn belly fat, like, it's just boring, and people, I think, are sick of it and will become more sick of it. So just be you, get your personality out there, whatever that is for you, get your personality out there, invest heavily into yourself. And then I don't think I finished my sentence last time about what's the hardest thing about getting in shape, and I need to add this on there. It's just perseverance and seeing it through. Most people don't get to where they want to be because they sack it off. The one thing that you can't do, and the one thing that I haven't done, is no matter how shit it's felt at the time and how tough it's felt, I have not given up. And you can't give up. If you want to make it work, you have to stick with it through the good times and through the bad times, as cliche as that sounds, and you just have to graft for it. There's a crazy stat, it's something like 82% of newly qualified personal trainers aren't in the job the next year. It's because it's a really easy qualification to get, and most people that come out of it are just shit, and they don't teach you how to do anything in the course other than, here's how you do a warm-up. And B, they're often, like I said earlier, they see it as something that's an attractive job. You can do it from anywhere in the world, you can coach loads of people and you get loads of money, and they can't stick it out because they don't know how to. And they just think everything's going to come to them like this. You have to persevere with it, you have to put in the graft. So that's probably what I'd say. Until something comes to me later on, I'll probably just drop you a message. But they're the main things that I would say. Cannot give up, invest in yourself, implement as well, and implement fast. And yeah, you will doubt yourself along the way. I still doubt myself all the time, but it comes back to just have that bloody mindedness around you where you just don't give up. Love this. Brad, you always give the best questions. There's a couple in here. First one, never have abs again, or never eat a brownie again. You always get me with these questions as well. Tough one. I'm gonna go with never have abs. I reckon I could just sit above the position of not having abs. But the thought of not having a brownie again, like that was the wedding, our kind of wedding cake. We had brownies. Unbelievable. I can't go my whole life with not eating a brownie again. Next question. Will you always coach? Great question. I don't know. Who knows? Right now, I'm loving it. It's providing me with a life and the lifestyle that I want. I get a lot out of it. I love now connecting with people and seeing people break through with results and things like that. I love it at the moment. When I first started PTing, I never thought that I'd even go online. I didn't really know what online coaching was at the time. So that's changed again, and like that brings me back to you never know what could happen. So right now the shortish term plan is I want to keep doing what I'm doing. I love it. I love the impact that I'm having on people's lives. I love the impact of what it does for me as well, and the sense of satisfaction I get from it. But I can't say that I'll be doing it forever. Those thoughts have come across my mind of like, do I really want to be a coach when I'm 55 years old? Probably not. Who knows what I'm going to be doing then? I've thought about like going down the business route at some point, as I'm sure a lot of fitness coaches do as well, because you learn so much from running your own business that it carries over into any business. And I'm quite confident that I could help near enough any service-based business improve whatever they're doing. I like the thought of that, but I also, as I mentioned before, want to diversify what I'm doing. So whether that's in investing in property and things like that, which I have done already, or going down a completely different route, who knows? I think there's always going to be a part of me that I'm never going to stop training. I know for a fact personally I'm never going to stop training myself. Whether or not that's going to be with other people at some point, I don't really know. We're going to have to wait and see what happens with it. But I like this one as well. What's the most frustrating thing about coaching clients? There's probably going to be a lot. Right now, I'm just waiting for something to come to me, really. There's nothing that massively stands out. The most frustrating thing about coaching clients is when they give up on themselves right before they're about to strike gold. And I think that's probably the case that it has been for me, and it's probably the case for you if you're watching this, whereas you wanted to maybe get in shape before, and you sack it off for whatever reason. Something throws you off, you go on holiday, there's a wedding, summer happens, Christmas happens, it throws you off. You never really get there. You get in a bit of shape, but you never actually break through to the way you want to get to. And again, it comes back to the mindset side of things. I think it's when people give up on themselves that frustrates me the most, because there is always a way around things. And I'm confident that no matter who I have in front of me, so long as they're receptive and willing to implement, you will find a way around things, even when life feels its most tough. And when people give up on themselves, it frustrates the hell out of me. It frustrates the hell out of me. I'd say it's the number one. Okay, next question. Need to find them. Oh yeah, this is Brad's second question. Thoughts on Joe Wicks being a proper nonce about protein bars? Yeah, so I've seen a lot of it, and I don't just want to jump on the bandwagon of all of the people that have been commentating on it already. I've never been a massive fan of Joe Wicks, just purely, and this might be harsh, but just down to the fact I feel like he comes across fake. I feel like you can see through his energy and enthusiasm. I find it quite patronising personally, and his voice just grates on me, if I'm honest. And then just, he's probably done a lot of good, I get it, but it always just feels like a weird message with the things that these sort of people promote. The one good thing about Joe Wicks is there's one noodle dish that I got from him that he's banging. Apart from that, not a massive fan. But the protein bar thing is just weird. You could pick any food, right? You could pick anything, and I get why he's doing it. And if it is to raise awareness, then fine, but I always feel like there's a hidden agenda. Everyone brings up his past of like the My Protein affiliation and things like that. And they're somewhat, I think, justified, but also people change and grow and learn. And what I used to believe 10 years ago, I will quite openly say I think I was wrong on or something now. I don't know if he's done that or not, but I think it just makes things confusing for people. I think people can see straight through it. And I just don't know why you would pick on something like that when there is a whole host of other foods that you could pick on. It generally just irritates me, to be honest, and I just find it a weird one. Do you ever just watch his, like, the videos that he's done on this? It's like, hi guys, I've done this, I've done that, and I'm like, you don't strike me as a happy person who has their shit together with their own stuff, let alone trying to put it onto other people. Anyway, just my 2 cents on it. Okay, next question. I've got one here that just says photo cal trackers question mark. Maybe you mean, what are my thoughts on calorie trackers where you just take your photo, like the new like AI ones that are coming out. I've tried a couple of them and I've seen other people try them as well. The concept's really good and I'm sure it's going to be something that will feature heavily. However, you could go online right now and watch someone do it and see how inaccurate it is. Now, it's not even a case of being wildly inaccurate when you take your photo. I have done it. I've even done it through ChatGPT, and it's impressive that it brings out a lot of ingredients and things, but it's never going to be massively accurate. I can't remember the name of the one that I saw someone try, and it was like 50 to 60 calories out per meal. Now, it doesn't seem like much, and that's pretty good going. However, you add that up over the course of the day and through the course of the meals, and then over the course of the week, that's still thousands of calories out. I don't think anything right now will beat you weighing something and then inputting it in on a calorie tracker like MyFitnessPal, for example. I'm sure it will improve, of course, and I love the concept of it because it's just quick and easy. But how, when you're taking a photo of a cooked meal, it could identify what's like in there, but how does it know what you've cooked with? How does it, like, there's too many variants in there for my liking. So I would stick to the basics because the basics work. It still takes no time. I did a reel on this recently and it took me 40 seconds to track a whole day of food. And to me, I think 40 seconds, even if it's 5 minutes to get in shape is worth it. So I don't use them, won't use them at the moment until they can somehow be proven to be massively accurate. Then stick with the basics. Okay, 2 more questions. Best and worst country you've been to? That's a tough one. I don't think there's going to be one that's going to stand out for the best or the worst. There's one that kind of sticks out for the worst, but I think, again, it's going to be incredibly harsh because I was only there for a day or two. The worst one, it was Belgium. Where was I in Belgium? Antwerp. I remember just stopping through there. It was a long time ago, but Christ, it was grey and just nothing. I'll probably say that. Other than that, been pretty fortunate with a lot of travel that the amount of travel that I've done, that I haven't really been to bad places. One place sticks out in mind when I did 3 months in America with my mates and we went to Niagara Falls. Now, I wouldn't say this is the country because it was the Canada side, which we got told was the nicest side. We stayed in a little inn, you know, ones where you like drive up to outside the front door. And that's the most scared I've been in my life. It was horrific. It was absolutely horrendous. But yeah, not the country. So I'm going to go with Antwerp in Belgium. Sorry, guys. Best country, so tricky because I like places for different reasons. How can you compare Canada, again, where I've been Whistler snowboarding, the most incredible time? How can you compare that to Australia on the East Coast? Do you know what I mean? I feel like Australia is somewhere where I might end up settling down someday. But for me, the one that sticks out, that has the things in it that I most enjoy in life and where I felt my happiest, is Bali. I love Bali. The food, I can surf, the gyms, the weather on the whole, just, it's me all over. A slower way of life. I'm going to go with Bali for now. Australia's close. There's so many places that are up there, but let's go with Bali. Okay, the final question is, can't see the bottom of it. Pick the best exercise for each muscle group. Going to annoy you again. There is no best. However, this is what I would go for. I'm going to start with chest because chest is the best. Incline dumbbell chest press. Can't beat it. You probably can, but I think it kind of hits everything, to be honest. Let's go with back. I used to hate training back, but I love it now. Best, does that mean most effective or the one that I enjoy the most? Do you know what I mean? I love a close grip lat pull down with a mag grip, but would I go for that? It'd either be that or a dumbbell row because I think you can just, you're going to even out imbalances by single arm. Huge movement for the lats. Let's go with a dumbbell row. Shoulders, not a fan of shoulder pressing, plus you would get activation from the incline dumbbell chest press on the front of your shoulders. So I'm going to go with a lateral raise of some sort. I like cable lateral raises, lying ones, but I like dumbbell, like all different variations of them, but I'll just say we'll go with a lateral raise. Then tricep rope extension. my favourite tricep exercise of all time, biceps. Maybe a Bayesian curl or an incline dumbbell curl, but there's so many curls that I like. It would just be a straight curl of some sort. Which one, I don't know. I'm gonna go with a Bayesian curl, so your arms are behind you, like a dual cable bicep curl. The connection I get on it is unreal. So what's that? Chest, back, shoulders, bicep, tricep. Upper back, should we say that? Love a rear delt fly on a cable. If you can do it chest supported, then unreal. Legs, quads. Do you go with a compound here in isolation? I prefer leg extension. If you're just gonna isolate the quads, you can't beat a leg extension in my opinion. If it's gonna be a compound movement, I'd go with a hack squat or a pendulum squat though. Hamstrings is a strong case for an RDL, but I'm gonna go with a prone lying hamstring curl. Calves, standing calf raise, can't beat it. Anything else? Glutes. You can either do a glute focused hip thrust glute focused RDL or a hip thrust of some sort. Or do you go with an isolation exercise? I'm gonna go with Bulgarian split squats for glutes, personally. Yeah, Bulgarian split squats. Then abs, tricky one. I only really think there's 3 to maybe 5 ab exercises even worth doing. And for that reason, I'm gonna go with a kneeling cable crunch, just because you get the flexion extension, you can progressively overload it better than something like a sit-up, for example, which is naff. And that is all of the questions. Hope you enjoyed it. I'd like to do this again at some point if people enjoyed it and found some value from it. Yeah, happy days. Peace.